Hey, this is Abigail Rebecca, the Visibility Goddess. And if you really want to learn how to level up your life, you should be listening to the Time to Shine Today podcast with my good friend, Scott Ferguson. Let's level up.
Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and I am ready to bring you my good friend, fellow coach, absolutely fantastic human being, Abigail Rebecca. Abigail, her story that she's going to share will move you. How she was kind of held back, but she did not let that be an excuse for her to level up in life and to help others do the same. So if you know anybody in your life that might be struggling or maybe kind of trapped, please share this with them. I will definitely help them level up and push forward. So without further ado, here comes my really good friend, Abigail Rebecca Pugh. Let's level up. Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and I have an awesome interview come to you from my rock star, beautiful lady from across the pond, Abigail Rebecca. And Abigail is a human design visibility coach and consultant with over 28 years of experience coaching and developing leaders. She offers one-to-one coaching, global retreats, and online events through her Illuminate Method, which helps clients tap into their unique human design and achieve success with ease and fulfillment. And squad, also wait to the end because I have like a free little awesome giveaway for you from my good friend Abby here, and that's ABI, in case you're wondering. But Abby, thank you so much for coming on. Please introduce yourself to Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
Oh my goodness, what a first question. I really like pink.
Okay.
Because it makes me happy.
Yeah.
I like real bright bubblegum pink.
There you go.
If I had my way and my partner didn't live with me, it would be everywhere, like sofas, front door, everywhere.
It's funny.
But I'm a trained person. I'm a trained personal stylist, so I'm all about colors. I love to put colors together.
Because I always, I'll do 3 interviews today, my first, and I change my shirt in between interviews, right? And one, I want to feel more present, because if I change a shirt, I just feel more present. And 2, I just like, so it doesn't show up the same thing if I drop them back to back with the same shirt. But like pink is my next one. It's literally on my hanger here. I should have rocked that one today. And it's like a hot pink. I have that dark skin and I can pull off the pink a little bit. It can go in my color wheel. So that's awesome. But let's get to the origins of you, because I see that you're rocking with your coaching right now. You're absolutely leveling people up. But what got Abby there?
I was raised in a religious cult when I was 16. I had to decide whether I was going to stay with my family or whether I was going to leave and choose freedom. I was brought up very disempowered. I didn't have a voice. I didn't have any choices. My father chose all my subjects at school, and I was raised to be obedient and subservient to men and really not have any power. I felt very disempowered. And I chose freedom. And I look back now and think, oh, it was such a huge thing to do. I was only a baby. I was 16. But actually at the time, it was incredible, right? I chose freedom, and I went and I traveled around the world. And I went on it's a long story, but I went on a journey of self-awareness and self-development, and really came back to loving myself. And it was really my business that I started 7 years ago that was the catalyst for that. I realized that I had to be really visible within my business to be seen and promote my services and my ideas and my thoughts. And I found it really difficult to show up. I was worried about being ridiculed and rejected and lots of imposter syndrome. So that it's kind of set me on this journey. And as a result of that, I love to help other women do the same.
I love it. The imposter syndrome, it's still, even with me, I've been coaching 11 years, and I have blessed to coach professional athletes, actresses and whatnot. And sometimes I'll sit there and look at myself and be like, dude, how? Because I come from I come from a little less, not as, I'm not going to say bad, but a bad position as you, but not in a position like you, but more of a lack of ambition kind of family, right? Where it's like I'm the oddball out and whatnot. Then I feel like an imposter even to this day. But what was your kind of way to really get over your imposter syndrome?
There were a few things. I think it was a combination of things. We were talking before we came on air about yoga. I discovered yoga, specifically Kundalini yoga, and that really helped me to drop out of my head and into my body and stop worrying about things so much and really connecting with myself. I did a lot of therapy, I worked with some incredible coaches that helped me to step into really understanding more about myself and my value.
Right.
But it's really the reason that I work with human design is it was really human design that had an incredible impact on my life and my business, really getting to know myself and coming back to really loving and appreciating myself. I think that so many of us go through life comparing ourselves to other people and then not feeling good enough because we're not like them. We're not like other people. We're unique. So I think that when we can actually start to value ourselves and really value our gifts and love that and appreciate that about ourselves, that then puts us in a space where we're less worried about ourselves and the opinions of others, and then be in service to other people, and then we can lead others through that transformation.
I love that. And what I'm hearing is like, you can't pour from an empty cup, right? You like keep your cup full through your movement with yoga. Yeah, I'm a big believer, like even with my clients, you get hot when you get up, you get hydrated, you get moving, and you get lit, meaning there's a certain concoction that I have all my clients kind of drink to get them pH balance right. Then they get moving. It's either a rebounder with a trampoline or walk or something like that, and they get lit. Get outside with the least amount of clothing on as you can to get the vitamin D in you. And I love that you start with the body, got out of the head, and that's what really started. I love that you hire coaches, because there's a lot of coaches out there, unfortunately, that they don't have their own coaches, and so that you're able to set your ego aside, your insecurities aside, and get that coach. So I see you do some one-to-one coaching, and so if you're maybe in a discovery period with them and see if you're the right horse for the course, I like to say, you're the right coach for them, what kind of secret sauce might you, if you don't mind sharing, use to maybe help them find their blind spot that they're working through?
I think with any coaching, asking questions, but then really listening and very much listening to what's not being said as opposed to what's being said. So I like to dive deep. If I'm ever if there's any kind of conversation where somebody potentially could be considering hiring me as a coach, I want to find out about them. I want to find out about their desires, their deepest desires, but also their deepest fears. And it's really important to go there and to have that open and honest conversation and to be very vulnerable about it. You've just said about leaving my ego at the door to work with coaches. Well, I think we have to be really vulnerable. We have to be able to share and open up in order to get the transformation. And of course, human design. And I'll always come back to human design because it's a cool process, but really getting to know what that individual's human design is. And if you don't know what human design is, it's a blueprint of your aura. Imagine that Myers-Briggs and astrology became lovers and had a child, and that child's called human design. What it does is it shows us our personality types, but it's based on our birth date and birth time. And it shows us how we build relationships with one another, how our energies are received, how we can create success, our leadership style. But what it does as well is it really shows us how we can show up and be authentically visible. Because I can teach someone to be visible based on my own experiences, but that's based on me. It's not based on them. Everyone's individual. Everyone interacts in a different way. Everyone can create success in a different way. So we start to look at that first of all, so that we're basing any kind of visibility strategy, any work around them instead of my ideas and my concepts. It's all about the client and their duality.
I know that you offer a book also within your website as well that you write, or you have written, or however you do it, with regards to people where they can get that human design for themselves, correct? You do offer that?
Yeah, that's correct. And thank you so much for mentioning that. Yeah, it's called your Blueprint Aura book. So if you go onto my website, abigailrebecca.com, and then at the top, order your blueprint. And it's basically a 40-page, beautifully designed ebook that we create for you. It's bespoke for you. Human design is often referred to as the science of differentiation. It shows us how we are different to everyone else and how to embrace that instead of trying to be part of the crowd all the time. So embracing that authenticity. So obviously everyone's human design is completely different. So we create this book that you can then take away and you can read and learn about your human design, and it gives you strategy specifically around visibility, because that's my zone of genius. That's what I love to help my clients with, about being more confidently expressed, being more visible, showing up on podcast stages, social working events, whatever that might be. And it really gives you some step-by-step strategy and how to do that aligned to your human design and to go and experiment with it. Because it should be.
I love that you walk the talk too, because I mean, every social thing that I see out there, you're always expressing, like you just have this aura. If you forgive me if I'm using that word wrong, but the people like kind of magnet to you and stuff. And it'd be like, oh wow, she's a beautiful woman, but yet she's so well spoken. That's beautiful that you walk the talk. So if you're in that discovery period a little bit still with that one-to-one, is there any good question that you wish they would ask you but never do?
That's a really good question. Is the one question that they would ask me? I think the question would be about, I think what I always encourage in any conversation that I have with any human being is really giving them the opportunity to step into their greatness. And I think maybe the question would be like, what is my potential? What can I create from this? Like, if all my glass ceilings were removed, what could I actually create within my life? And I'd want them to ask that question, because I encourage them to do this anyway, but I'd want them to have that really powerful conversation around that, because I do believe that we have these dreams, right? That we're in these dreams and these missions and these visions that are inside our heads, but very often we keep them to ourselves, because potentially we might not be in communities where we're able to share that, and we're being taken seriously. Right. So we're not in these supportive communities that empower us and help us to dream big.
Thank you.
So I think it's always really important to have that conversation with someone that can hold a space for it. And also I always talk about this is why I love the power of the spoken voice. This is why I love speaking on stages. Because I always say that our voice, like our words are our wand. Our words are our wand. So when we speak things into existence. We manifest through our voice. Yes. So when I'm in conversation with you and I am telling you about all the amazing things that I want to create in this world, it's already happening because I'm sharing it with you. Yes. And to have that conversation is so powerful.
It's just the vibrations that come from sound of I'm not big on affirmations too much, right? I mean, I do have them. My clients will do them, but I'm more like, I believe the human mind is programmed to solve problems. So every affirmation, I have them turn it into a question, okay? And ask the question like, how is it that I don't live with shame, guilt, or conflict, right? So it's like the brain is consistently answering that, and they have to do it out loud, by the way. It's something that you say. They have to ask themselves out loud. How is it that I'm 6'1", 240 with a ripped body? It's like the things that your brain, because your subconscious, which will start going to work on it, they don't know if it's true or not. But with you being saying the sound, the vibration, that's beautiful. That's awesome. So have you ever had a situation where in a coaching situation where you would have did things differently?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Can you share one?
I think if I look back on when I first started my business, so bearing in mind that I've been a coach and a mentor for many years, but in different scenarios. So I used to mentor in corporate. I was a senior corporate leader for many years.
Oh, wow, okay.
And I used to coach and mentor women in senior leadership positions, but it was very different to stepping into this personal development world and doing
you think
now, right? Very different. They're like breaking out of that kind of corporate mindset and coming into something really different.
Right.
And when I first started coaching, when I first started my business, it was all about me. It was all about me. It was all about looking good. It was all about sounding good. And that was masking a lot of fear I had about my abilities. I felt like I had to like throw everything at my clients.
Mm.
And that would then prove to
Look at
them and
me.
me that I was a good coach.
And I'm in control. And yeah, you
Exactly.
pull that control from them. Thank you for admitting, like sharing that. That is transparent as hell, because I was thinking I was coaching at one time, and somebody pulled me aside. Like I did a mock one with a coach that I really, really respect. And I was wondering why I wasn't growing. He's like, dude, you're consulting. He goes, you're telling them he's like, he told me, he said, Scott, everybody knows what they want. They just don't know how to talk themselves into it. And that's where a good coach is there, talk themselves into it. So every problem they have or challenge resides in them. So does the answer. So once I learned to get really curious, which is my superpower, by the way, first of all, Abby, if I was to say, Abby, do it this way, and you go try it, and you're like, Fergie was an idiot. He's wrong. But if you come up with it and you go try it, then I can GPS you into a different way of going in. So thank you for being transparent. That was freaking phenomenal. So you talk with your background and being in the cult and whatnot, I'm just going to use the word demeaned and whatnot, not having your power, especially as a female. Like, so I don't know if you ever heard of the book, The Go-Giver by Bob Burke, but it's fantastic. And he talks a lot about with the reciprocation part. How are you now with receiving, with all the giving that you've did through this? And the reason why I asked that, Abby, is because in the past, you were receiving what they told you to receive. Okay. Now, how are you at really receiving it and accepting the gratitude coming from others?
I went through a whole like roller coaster ride in terms of being able to receive things. And with that energy, not just like compliments or the gratitude, but also like the physical manifestation of that energy, right? So receiving money for my services, receiving opportunities, receiving new experiences in terms of forming friendships and business experiences and things like that. And when I left, when I left home when I was 16, I went and traveled the world and I had an incredible time. But I was like, the only way that I could probably describe it is that I was fiercely independent. So I was like, wanted to be in control. Nobody was going to tell me what to do. And I had complete barriers down. Like nobody's penetrating through my wall because I'm not going to get hurt again.
Right.
And then again, the catalyst to all of this is my business, right? I always say our business is like the best personal development program that you can invest in, because everything came up when I started my business. And then the barriers started to go down and I started to like accept it more. But I still had a lot of resistance towards receiving things. I was having a conversation actually with somebody the other day, and she was like, what was it like opening your first Christmas present? Because we didn't celebrate Christmas. I wasn't brought up to celebrate Christmas. And I opened my first Christmas present when I was 17, and she said, how did it feel? And I said, I felt ridiculous. I felt really embarrassed. And she was like,
I don't deserve this.
It should be like amazing. And I was like, no, because I'd never been given a present in my life. And I was like, oh, I don't have gifts. And it's really interesting how I've had to heal that at different levels. So I felt that I've healed it. And then every time I grow bigger and I transform and like I grow my business and my client base and maybe even raise my prices, whatever that might be, it feels like I'm opening another present that I don't deserve.
Yes.
So I'm really aware of that. And who knows? I don't know if that will ever go away. And to be honest with you, I don't mind.
I don't want it to go away.
Me. Yeah.
I don't. In a way, it keeps me humble. Okay. Because I can get my version of success and kind of be a douchebag like I was back in the day to my family and friends and stuff like that. And there's a karmic debt I had to pay for doing that. But now I just kind of look at it and I almost welcome the feeling in a sense. Like, okay, cool, here's another thing I can receive. I have a cat, so I can't keep real plants in my place, but I keep one out on the balcony. And like my coach would say, listen, man, it's like that we breathe in oxygen, out carbon dioxide. The plant breathes in carbon dioxide and out oxygen. It has no choice but to do it. Right. So it's like it taught me a lot just that I keep it and I look at it like, okay, Someone says something, gives me something, accept it. I love it. So have you seen the movie Back to the Future?
I have.
Okay, let's get in that DeLorean with Marty McFly. Let's go back to the double deuce. You had the 22-year-old Abby. You had left home 6 years before that. But what kind of knowledge nuggets would you drop on the 22-year-old Abby? Not so much to change anything. I know you've had a rough life, but you've also learned a lot in this time. But maybe to shorten a learning curve, blast through or level up, maybe just a little bit quicker.
I think I would, well, I know that I would sit her down and speak to her about her boundaries. And she doesn't have to be a people pleaser, and she can say no, and she doesn't have to explain why she's saying no. She can just say no. I would share with her the fact that she doesn't need to worry about the future because she's such a worrier. She just needs to kind of let it flow.
Yeah.
And trust in herself and trust in the process and trust in other people.
Love it.
And yeah, just that reassurance that everything's going to be okay. And she can be her own person. She doesn't need to be like everyone else to fit in with the crowd. And actually her individuality and, dare I say it, weirdness.
Yeah.
Is the thing that's going to help her stand out.
Yes.
And create amazing opportunities within her business. Because I have had a really cool life, and to be honest with you, I wouldn't really change anything, but I would go back and give her that little bit of advice, give her a hug and tell her it's going to be okay.
It's going to be good, dude. Do that. That's awesome. Claim your unique gift that you have. That's beautiful. So how do you want your dash remembered? That little line in between your incarnation date and your expiration date, your life date and death date. Hopefully it's way down the line for you, but how do you want your dash remembered to the world?
I think I would like to be remembered as someone who really loves to help other people feel really good about themselves and believe in themselves, and then go out and freaking do it.
Yes. That's beautiful. And take the action. That's what I heard there. A lot of people, like I was talking off air with you on the podcast, and I could have launched this show in 2017, but I just didn't have that oomph to do it. But everything's for a reason. I'm glad I did, because I get to meet people like you. This is fantastic. So what do you think people misunderstand? Because you're pretty unique with your coaching and the aura and the magnetic stuff and stuff like that. But what do you think people misunderstand the most about Abby?
I think that some people don't quite get me in terms of, so we're not going down the human design route here, but within my human design, I'm a projector, which basically means that my role within society is to be a guide. And I have a penetrating aura that can kind of like look into someone's soul. And that's what makes me such a great coach and a mentor. But some people don't like it. And I'm very aware of that.
Right.
So I think that some people maybe kind of might see me as a little bit intense in one-to-one situations, potentially. I'm quite lighthearted and I get on with so many people, but I think sometimes people might feel a little bit uncomfortable with me because they can kind of sense that I can see the blind spots when they can't. What I've had to learn to do in my life is not point those out without being invited in to do it. Because what I used to do is I'd be like in a conversation with someone and it would be so obvious about what they needed to do. And I'd tell them, but they hadn't asked me for that advice. So I used to rub people up the wrong way quite a lot with that.
I can see that. Yeah. I did the same. Yeah. Now I just ask permission. Be like, can I ask? And then I paraphrase what they say and then ask them another question. I love it. Thank you for being transparent. This is fantastic. So what is Abby's definition of a life well lived?
Happiness.
Okay.
Travel. So much travel. Good food. Just being in company with other really cool humans that you can have really meaningful conversations with and that light you up.
Love it.
For me, it really is about like my human experience is to like travel and see as much of the world that I can. And I've done that for all of my life. And I continue to do that within my business. I've built my business around my desire to travel.
I love it. That's fantastic. You're doing kind of a laptop lifestyle by design. Oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing. That was my whole goal when I got out of the military, is to like never really have to punch a clock, right? And do what I love in the service of people that love what I do. That's something that Steve Farber had said years ago. Do what you love in the service of people that love what you do, because they will know that you love what you do. You know what I'm saying? And I can tell by your brightness and your aura and your energy. This is fantastic. Time to Shine a Day Podcast Varsity Squad. We are back. And Abby, we will meet up if you ever get your butt down to Florida next time you come to the stateside, which I know you will now. I got some really cool people to introduce you to, and I can get you speaking engagements throughout the whole state of Florida. And this is like convention central, especially during the cold months. So we're going to make sure that we get that one cheater from you and a sizzle reel of your speaking and get that going. But during that time, we might meet up for a bev and discuss some of these questions, 15, 20 minutes. But today you got 5 seconds with no explanations, and they can all be answered that way. I promise you. You ready to level up?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do this. Look at it. She's like, oh, I love it. Okay. Abby, what's the best leveling up advice you've ever received?
Stop being a victim.
Yes. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
Cold water therapy.
Yes. Ice plunge every day. I love this. So you see me walking down the street and you're like, man, Fergie looks like he's in his doldrums a little bit. What book might you hand me to level me up?
The Surrender Project.
Beautiful.
Oh, no, sorry. It's called The Surrender Experiment.
Okay. Who's that by?
I can't remember his
Don't
voice.
worry about it. I love it.
It's amazing.
Probably I needed to surrender. That's beautiful. What's your most commonly used emoji, if any, when you text?
A fire.
Love it. Nicknames growing up?
Scabby Abby, because I was always falling down and hurting my knee.
Love it. What is a hidden talent or superpower that you have that nobody really knows about?
I don't know. Everyone knows about it.
That's fine. You're good.
I know. I'm an open book.
Love it.
Here, no shame in my game.
That's a superpower, believe it or not. That's fantastic. Chess, checkers, or Monopoly?
Oh, none.
None. Beautiful. Headline for your life.
She made the best of it and was fabulous.
And kick ass and all that other awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Superstitions, if any?
No superstitions. Don't believe in them.
Beautiful. Go-to ice cream flavor?
Oh, like something like cakey, like carrot cake.
Beautiful. Awesome. There's a sandwich named the Scabby Abby. Let's build that sandwich. What's on it?
No, okay, so it's got to be in a really like soft like bat.
Okay.
No butter, lots of veggies, cilantro, and different cheeses. I'm a vegetarian, so I don't eat meat.
Awesome.
And pickles.
Ah, lots of pickles. Beautiful. Favorite charity and or organization you like to give your time or money to?
Alzheimer's.
Awesome. Thank you for doing that. And last question, you can elaborate on this one, but what's the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
It's got to be 90s because
Really?
that was like my party era.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. So Abby, how can we find you, my friend?
You can find me at abigailrebecca.com.
Okay.
And you can find out about me. I always say to my clients, make sure that you're easily stalkable. So I'd like to make sure that I'm easily stalkable. You can find my Instagram on there. You can connect in with me. You can watch my blogs. You can see my YouTube channel.
Yeah,
it's all on there. And it will tell you all about your human design. So you can also download your human design chart for free on there if you want to.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. And in squad, it is Abigail, Abigail, Rebecca, REBECCA.com. So it will be in the show notes as well. So just go ahead and click in there. And you do offer we spoke about the Magnetic Aura Blueprint, the book. So I'll unpack that just a little bit more, what people can purchase there on your site. And also there is a giveaway on your site as well with I had it open in front of me. I apologize. But go ahead and if you don't mind talking about the Magnetic Aura Blueprint.
Yeah, absolutely. So You can go onto my website and you can look at your human design chart, but there's a difference between looking it up and then really understanding, like, what does it mean to me, right? So if you want it to make sense, then you can order the Magnetic Aura Blueprint book, which is basically a 40-page book that is bespoke to you. And it tells you all about your human design. It shows you your leadership style, how you can build relationships with other people, how your energy is received, how you can create success. It even tells you about the environment where you get the best opportunities, so the juicy places that you get to hang out. It's really, really cool. And I love human design so much. It changed my life. It changes the life of others that I've worked with. And yeah, it's all there ready for you. We create it and reproduce it and send it off to you within 7 days of ordering it.
Is it an actual book or is it a digital book?
It's a digital book.
Perfect. I'd like to hear that.
Spoke to every single person. So everyone that we create is completely different.
So you're not just dropping their information in Chat GPT and saying, writing a book. We talked about that off air. No, I can really see you're so intentional. So I love that. And Abby, do me one last solid and leave the squad with one last knowledge nugget they can take with them, internalize, and take action on.
I'm presenting an event this evening, and I'm actually emceeing an event this evening, and I'm talking a lot about fear and about how often we can blow fear up to such an extent that it completely controls our lives and it stops us moving forward. And I tell a story about fear being a monster. And when you face that monster, the monster becomes smaller and smaller and smaller, and then you can just blow it away. So I think just the thing to leave the audience with is to, whatever is stopping you from moving forward and creating what you want to do and being visible, like, just face that fear, stand in the fire, and the opportunities at the other side are just incredible.
Face everything and rise, right? Isn't that what they FEAR? Yeah, face everything and rise. And squad, I just had a really super, super fun conversation with Abby. I know that if you were really tuning in here, you have notes like I do. I mean, she was raised in like a cult. She said, okay, do I stay here and be to me in my life or access that freedom? So be obedient or freedom. She chose the freedom. And what that led to is her really coming back to loving herself. She reminds us to drop out of your head and into your body. Get moving, get that going. Because if your temple's good, your mind will follow. Value yourselves and the gifts that you are having and be less worried about yourself, but live your life in service. Like, really tune into yourself. That's what my good friend Abby wants you to do. Abby's a coach that I like to say listens with her neck. She doesn't just listen with her ear. She's really leaning in. She's listening to what she says not being said, does a deep dive to your deepest fears and desires and fears. The human design blueprint of your aura shows personality types built on birth date and birth times, and it'll help you show up to be your unique, invisible, and claim that unique gift. If you're starting to work with a coach, which hopefully it's Abby here, but ask her, what is my potential? What can I create from your coaching? What can we do together? She reminds us that our words are our wants. When we speak things into existence, they seem to happen. I believe myself, there's a huge vibration to sound and things manifesting. It's okay to say no. Hold your boundaries, she reminded you. If you don't know something, like my good friend Leah Woodford would say, get your asking gear. There are people out there that want to help you. And my good friend Abby here she's really loves to help others and feel really good about themselves, take action, and really enjoy life. She loves to travel, good food, being in the company of really cool humans. I mean, Abby is really planting trees she's never going to sit in the shade of. And those are the people that I like to make part of my tribe. She does things, from what I got out of this 30-minute interview, for the intention, not the attention. And that is really kick-ass as well. So any monsters that you're out there facing right now, whatever's stopping you, face that fear. And if you're having trouble with it, let me make a warm introduction to my good friend Abby. Abby levels up her health. She levels up her wealth. She's beautiful, yet super driven, humble, yet hungry. Thank you so much for coming on. You earned your varsity squad letter here at Time to Shine today. And I can't wait to collaborate with you in the future, my friend.
Thank you.
We'll chat soon.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Time to Shine Today podcast. Proudly brought to you by Sutter & Nugent Real Estate Excellence, who can be reached at 561-249-7266 and online at www.sutterandnugent.com. If you are a business owner or professional who would like to be interviewed on Time to Shine Today, please visit timetoshinetoday.com/guest. If you like this episode, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to our website. Also there, you will see our recommended resources. We hope that you will support our show by supporting them. If you like what you've been listening to, it'd be great if you could just give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe while you're at it. I'm your host, Scott Ferguson, and until next time, let's level up. It's our time to shine.